The act is clearly unconstitutional under long-standing Supreme Court precedent. Those precedents hold, in the words of Planned Parenthood versus Casey, that, quote, regardless of whether exceptions are made for particular circumstances, a state may not prohibit any woman from making the ultimate decision to terminate her pregnancy before viability. Texas does not dispute that its statute violates Supreme Court precedent. Instead, the statute includes an unprecedented scheme to, in the Chief Justice's words, quote, insulate the state from responsibility, close quote. It does not rely on the state's executive branch to enforce the law, as is the norm in Texas and everywhere else. Rather, the statute deputizes all private citizens, without any showing of personal connection or injury, to serve as bounty hunters, authorized to recover at least $10,000 per claim from individuals who facilitate a woman's exercise of her constitutional rights. The obvious and expressly acknowledged intention of this statutory scheme is to prevent women from exercising their constitutional rights by thwarting judicial review for as long as possible. Thus far, the law has had its intended effect. Because the statute makes it too risky for an abortion clinic to stay open, abortion providers have ceased providing services. This leaves women in Texas unable to exercise their constitutional rights and unable to obtain judicial review at the very moment they need it.
So, obviously, this is in violation of the U.S. Constitution, which applies equally to everybody who is inside the United States. And no, not just citizens. No, anybody who is inside the United States is protected by the United States Constitution. That's just a fact. So, you know, this is the situation we find ourselves in. We have a party in the United States. We literally have a party that is anti-constitutional, anti-rule of law, while they scream law and order and back the blue, but then they use the flags that they fly that indicate they back law and order to beat police officers. This is so doublespeak, okay? This is so newspeak. This is so bizarre that it makes Alice in Wonderland look like it wasn't drug-induced. This is one of the most bizarre periods in the history of the United States. There is no question that the attack on everybody's constitutional rights is in full swing, that it is not just aided and abetted by, but it is actually enabled by enablers of a lawless, ruleless, constitutional-less society. This is what they hope for. This is what they dream. This is what they want. This is what they envision for our future. Vigilantism, bounty hunters, the Klan against women, the Klan against voters in Texas. You know, this partisan poll watching portion of the look at what Texas decided to do in the last special session, okay? They banned the teaching of United States history. Really, so that you don't know, and your children will not know, that Robert E. Lee was a slave-owning fool. That Robert E. Lee literally prevented reconstruction of this here country because he wanted to protect the right to own another person. Which is just, when you just explain slavery as the right to own a human being, to beat them, to torture them, to threaten them, to intimidate them, but to feed them so that they're ready to work the fields for your lazy butt, is the best a black man can do. That was the belief of the Confederacy and the generals, okay, who literally caused the death of 600,000 Americans also in one of the most bloody displays in the history of mankind. To preserve the right to torture another human being so your lazy ass doesn't have to go out in the field and make dinner, make things happen. It's just very sick and twisted. And now they're doing the same thing by preventing people from accessing their ballot. They're doing the same thing by preventing the teaching of that history. They're doing the same thing by now attacking with vigilantes and bounty hunters women. And at the same time, causing the death of people that they have convinced not to trust the National Institutes of Health, not to trust the Centers for Disease Control, not to trust virologists or epidemiologists, only to trust one man, one orange freak, who, by the way, has decided that on 9/11, the 20th anniversary of September 11th, 2001, on Saturday, Donald Trump, who wants to be president again, remember this, he wants to be president. He envisions himself as being presidential still and viable still in 2024. And he decided that the best way for a presidential candidate or somebody who is viable or somebody who is to be thought of as being presidential on the 20th anniversary of 2,996 people literally plunging to their death or exploding in the World Trade Center is to go to the Hard Rock Cafe, seriously, in Fort Lauderdale, in Hollywood, Florida, and to do the color commentary on a fake fight featuring 58-year-old Holyfield. That's what Trump and his son will be doing on the anniversary of 9/11. They will be doing color commentary at the Hollywood Hard Rock Cafe in Fort Lauderdale. It is literally the dumbest thing that any future president could ever spend 9/11 doing, but that is what he is doing. And he still thinks that he should be president, and so do his death cult members. His death cult members. They are refusing vaccines, and now we know because, look, people have done documentaries about the unvaccinated in this country now, and they went to Missouri, they went to the Ozarks where Arkansas and Missouri meet, and they interviewed a small town of people who refused to get vaccinated. Now, these people say out loud that they refuse to get vaccinated because their president, Donald Trump, their president, and they can't say it often enough, their president, my president, they'll say my president, Donald Trump, didn't get vaccinated, but he did, but they don't know that. They don't know that, and so they won't get vaccinated. I mean, the damage this man has done to our democracy is epic. Epic.